While we got more games than we probably could have ever realistically played on the mighty DS, there were still some promising titles that for various reasons we never got to play. Halo DS was a pitch for Microsoft's flagship shooter to be shrunk down for the DS, and that pitch came with a fully playable demo that was praised for its graphics and sound. The game would have featured a full campaign and deathmatch modes, and controlled similar to Metroid Hunters. The game never saw it past these initial stages, but the ability to play a portable Halo when the franchise was in its prime would have been a dream to a lot of Nintendo gamers. Crash Landed was another pitch with a playable build. Some recently discovered footage shows Crash exploring a fully realised 3D beach level. While it's hard to tell how good this would have turned out, the game does look bright and colourful with some smooth and slick animation. If you're an older gamer like me, you may remember a bizarre 2D fighter on the Nintendo 64 named Clay Fighter. Well, if you don't worry, as honestly, the Clay Fighter games are pretty bad. Clay Fighter was almost remade for the DS, stupidly titled Clay Fighter Call of Putty. The game would have had visual upgrades, 16 fighters, and other tweaks. Now this one looks promising. Perdition was a third-person horror title that you could either play alone or with a friend, and saw you mow down hordes of the undead. The game's graphics look really good, and the gameplay looks a lot similar to a Resident Evil title. Not much else is known about the project, but from the gameplay alone, this one looked extremely promising. Retro Studios of Metroid Prime fame once pitched the idea of taking Super Mario's ghostly Boo enemy and giving him his own game that sees the little spirit graduate Haunt University. Lots of spooky themed art was recently discovered, revealing special abilities, different themed boos, and some special witch bosses. Going by the art and creative design alone, this looked like it would have been great. While we did get the solid Duke Nukem critical mass for the DS, we was actually meant to get a trilogy of games, with one of the games being a first-person Duke Nukem game. Contrasting reports either say it was a Duke Nukem arena-based shooter, or a port of the first Duke Nukem FPS. Another retro favourite of mine that also never got its time to shine on a handheld was Gauntlet. It's sad to say it was almost a reality, and we even got a trailer showing the top-down dungeon explorer in all its glory. The fact the whole game was going to have 4-player co-op or versus makes this even more heartbreaking. Another game I discovered that I just want to play due to its excellent art style is Matchman, a run-and-gun adventure game with a story influenced by the grim fairy tale series. The game was supposed to be very tongue-in-cheek and packed with humour. If the gameplay was anything as good as these visuals, then we surely missed out on a gem. A spin-off of the popular God simulators by Lionhead Studios was once in development, titled Black and White Creatures. The game was more focused on you raising your creatures than all of the complicated god duties of the main series. In the game, you could battle the creatures, teach them how to dance, while praising or scolding them accordingly. Lastly on the list, we have a cancelled game that many years later we actually got to play, and that was Metroid Dread. While the game is brilliant on the Switch, there's no denying the DS was severely lacking in the 2D Metroid department. According to reports, the game was similar to Metroid Fusion, but it's unknown how much of the ideas behind Metroid Dread for the DS made it into the Switch version. These are just some of the games I stumbled on while researching my Hidden Gem series that I thought were worth a shout out. Other titles including Banjo, Zelda and Donkey Kong were also pitched but never made their way to the platform. For more information, check out unseen64.net. Thank you for watching, stay tipsy.